For the third time in 3 years, the United Nations Human Rights Council urged the Sri Lankan government to address allegations of war crimes. But this time, a resolution tabled by the United States and voted on by the Council's other member countries went one step further. It calls for a comprehensive investigation of what happened during the civil war.
I'm going to seek their cooperation for justice and accountability. And on the part of both sides, victims of LTTE are also waiting for justice.
Far from the UN's human rights headquarters in Geneva, on the streets of Colombo, angry Sri Lankans insisted that any UN investigation will violate their country's sovereignty. The government also stood firm.
Reconciliation is a very complex, slow-moving process. If somebody interferes into this process on unwarranted basis, that will definitely scuttle the reconciliation process.
Thousands of civilians died during the final stages of the civil war that lasted 26 years. But the United Nations says the government's own investigation into possible war crimes has failed to answer questions of accountability. The country's Tamil leaders agree.
Sri Lanka is in this mess on account of the difficulties Sri Lanka is experiencing in fulfilling its international commitments and its assurances and obligations to the international community.
Tamils welcomed the UN resolution, but outside areas affected by the war, sentiments are often very different. Even before the UN vote that also condemned Colombo for failing to investigate, protesters showed their support for the government. In May, Sri Lanka will mark the 5th anniversary of the end of the civil war. And by then, a UN-led inquiry into who is responsible for what happened during that time may have begun. It's an investigation the government says it won't support, but one that its critics argue is necessary if the country is to move forward. Nidhi Dutt, Al Jazeera, Colombo.